I've talked about these 8 keys. Now, I don't think this is something you do once in your business. Actually, it's an iterative thing. So for me, as soon as you start working through all of these 8 keys, you want to tweak the categories until each one of them is easy and cost effective. And you need to be really clear that you're making choices. Now, a lot of us like to do everything. You know, I'm one of those people too. But actually, the key to making a business fast and profitable is to throw out all of the extraneous activities that you don't need to do to get there. So if we come back again, my key number 1 was to look at the customer segment and to do that first. So not to play around with your product until you really, really understand who it is that you're targeting. So I suggest that you make that as specific as possible. And often we're worried that if our market's too small, we're not going to do well. But the research out there is that the more targeted you market, the more likely you are to succeed. And then you can expand to other markets when that's successful. So 1, nail that customer segment, know it so, so well. 2, understand what problem that you're going to solve for that segment, right? So, you know, and I mentioned things like beekeeping or looking after horses, or, you know, it might be coaching other business owners, or it could be creating beautiful homes. It doesn't matter what the problem is, but the more that you understand that that customer segment has this problem, then you will be able to create what's called a value proposition for them. So the third thing then is what to sell that customer segment that solves that problem. And it will either be a product or a service or a combination of those. And to get very specific about that, and as specific as you can about the price to the customer, what they will bear. And I don't believe in doing what's called cost-based pricing. So don't look at your costs and add a bit on. Work out what is the most that your customer will pay to have that problem solved, and do your pricing based on the solution that you're offering. The fourth key that I talked about was to really identify the nature of the relationship that you want to have with that customer. So is it direct or is it through others? So example like that might be, is it through a web directly to them, or are you sending them to a retail store for their experience? So really think deeply about that, and also the nature of the relationship. Is it going to be more like Google, where it's very hands-off, self-service? Or is it going to be more like, perhaps I bought a really great car recently and I get this lovely, I get phone calls and letters reminding me that I need a service and that the car needs to be brought in and asking me if I'm happy. Those are very different choices they've made around the way their relationship is with the customer. The fifth key is trying to get speed by outsourcing anything that you don't have to do yourself. So thinking about what partners you could use to either sell or to create or to develop or to help you with marketing or leadership or accounting or any of the things that you could outsource. That will mean that you can have a leaner, faster team. The sixth one is really understanding what you're going to do yourselves. So play to your skill set. The things that you're best at, do. Everything else I would send out. And understand what is important for the business to do that you really can't risk having anyone else do. The seventh one is really understanding what resources are required for that business to operate well. So it might be a location, it might be servers, so I suggest using things like Amazon. It might be getting the content rights to using something, or if you're buying or selling something, trading, it's accessing that stock to sell. So really understanding what resources you need. And having done that, you can then really think, particularly using those key 5, 6 and 7, they help you to determine what the cost base of the business is. And so key 8 is really understanding what costs you have and thinking about how you can screw those costs down at the same time as getting revenue up. And to me, that's the fastest way to get to profit.